Hello live. How are you guys doing this fine Sunday? I wanted to come to talk to you guys about the Starbucks incident that happened in Philadelphia Starbucks and kind of get you guys' input on the situation. I am Angela Anderson, the #1 HR expert, and I have my own business called #1HRexpert.com. So if you'd like to get more information about what I do, please visit the website www.1HRexpert.com, and you can get more information about what I do. If you don't mind, please go ahead and share this with your friends and family. This is a hot trending topic right now, and a lot of people are really concerned on what are the next steps and what is the CEO going to do about everything that has transpired. He has formally put out a statement, but what are the next steps and how will these two young black men get justified for what happened. They need an answer from Starbucks on how are they going to figure this out with their employees and how this situation happened and why the police was even called in the first place. So I just want you guys to know that this topic is trending on Twitter, is trending on Instagram. It's also trending here on Facebook. I also have a YouTube channel, #1 HR Expert. So you can also look at my YouTube channels for different trainings and updates with what's going on in human resources. So I want you guys to, I'm trying to wait for more people to come on. And I'm going to share this out to my professional groups, my HR groups. So please bear with me. I'm waiting for people to come in. But as you come into the room, please go ahead and drop what city and state you're from. And that'll kind of help me understand where you guys are located. And that would be very helpful. And if you are watching the replay, please also put your city and state where you're coming from. I'm trying to wait for a few more people to join the live before I dive into the topic for today. As you come in, please put your city and state, and that would be very helpful. And also, any questions that you may have, please, put them in the comments, and then I can respond to the comments or answer your questions as we go along with the live. So please bear with me at this time as I share to all of my pages. And as you come in, please put your city and state. Again, please put your city and state of where you're watching this live from. Hello, thank you for joining. I appreciate everybody that's joining today. Hi, thank you for joining. Please put your city and state of where you're from, please. Thank you for joining, Monica. Appreciate that. Thank you for joining. Please, as you come in, please share this video. This is going to be a hot trending topic, and a lot of people will want to hear from an HR standpoint on how a situation like this may be handled at such establishment like a Starbucks. Can you guys hear me? Please put in your city and state. That would be greatly appreciated. All right, so we got quite a few people to join already. Washington State of Tacoma, Washington State in Tacoma. Thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and dive into this topic. Thank you for joining, everyone. This topic has really hit home for myself because I have two young, men that I'm raising. One's already pretty much grown. He's 23 years old, but that kind of resonates with me. I mean, we all go to Starbucks. We all want our coffee and our lattes and our tea. But if we're going to go there and feel like we're not welcome, or in this particular situation, Philadelphia, pretty much be called out that we are loitering or trespassing, how does that make us feel, and I think it's more than a black and white thing. It's just kind of everything that's going on in today's society, in today's world, with Trump and, now we're going to war with Syria and all of these things. It's just pretty much, the cops attacking us and killing us for no reason or without cause. It just really puts the icing on the cake, as I would call it. It's really hits home for me because like I said, I do have two young men that I adore and that I raise, and it's just too much. It's, at one point I was watching the video, I was thinking, well, the officer should have asked the employee that called, what prompted you to call? But I didn't see anything. They just went straight in and kind of attacked them. And I didn't feel like it was justified at any point. They were very calm, and they were, listening to the officers and having dialogue, but not at one time did they raise their voice. Not at one time did they resist arrest, but they still were scrutinized and then handcuffed and then arrested. So, what is the accountability for the corporate CEO of Starbucks? What is his accountability in this? Like Monica says, too much, just like the same thing in the workplace. Yes, but this is more of a global thing, not just within your organization, but as customers as a whole. I know we have to hold our employees to a higher standard, and what are the protocols and the actions that we have to take as employees. But not at one point, I don't think that this employee felt threatened by these two African-American gentlemen that were sitting there waiting on a friend to come so then they could patronize the establishment. But they weren't afforded that opportunity to do so. So I'm going to read you what the Chicago Tribune says, that Starbucks CEO apologizes. So Starbucks CEO apologizes to the two black men arrested while waiting at a table. Starbucks sells itself as a community gathering spot as much as a coffee house, a welcoming place with comfortable chairs for lounging, trendy music, and Wi-Fi. A lot of people go for their free Wi-Fi. That's one reason the arrest of the two black men who were sitting at a Starbucks struck a nerve for so many people, not just African American, but also Caucasian, Hispanic, and Asian descent. It's because a lot of people go there and they want to go and pull up their laptops. They want to get on there and they want to do some work, and then maybe order a coffee, a latte, but they don't want to feel like, this is not a gathering spot anymore, because that's what this particular call led to. Is now I don't feel comfortable going to Starbucks because I may get arrested. You don't want to have that over your head. So what are they doing exactly to remedy this situation? They do have 28,000 stores worldwide. So the CEO has jumped on this right away and has put out a statement saying the CEO of Starbucks, Kevin Johnson, called the arrest reprehensible outcome and said he wants to personally apologize to the men, saying that the company stands firmly against discrimination or racial profiling. But that didn't stop protesters from gathering Sunday outside the store in downtown Philadelphia where their arrest occurred. So he did put out a statement. I commend him for coming right out, giving his statement. He posted on Twitter. It's been on all national news. And I appreciate that he did do that. But what is going to happen to the Bartista that then called the police on these two gentlemen? Will she be arrested? Well, I don't even know if it's a he or she. Will she be arrested? No, I don't think so. Will she, will that be like a false call to 911? Who knows? I don't think so. Will she be fired? He or she be fired? I don't know if they'll take it that far, but there definitely needs to be some coaching and counseling on why Starbucks is so famous. They're there for an establishment. And like he said in the beginning of this statement, it's a community. It's a gathering spot. It's for people to come together and work on projects together and feel comfortable to go have a nice cup of coffee. But if you're going to make it a hostile environment, that might be not a situation that somebody wants to enter into, not freely. So let's see what else they're talking about here on this. As people order coffee inside, Reverend Jeffrey Jordan led a crowd of a couple dozen in chants of "I am somebody, I demand equality now." So I know that they just hired in October of 2017, Rosalind Brewer. She's the Chief Operating Officer at Starbucks, and she's African-American woman. Now, it's the first African-American woman in the COO position at Starbucks. So I really like to hear her statements and what she has to say about this whole thing. I've been looking her up, trying to see if there's any statement that she put out personally, and I haven't seen anything. So I would really like for her to come out and just really express her concern about that situation and what is she going to do to remedy the situation. So Nashay says that it was a she. So, okay, the Bartista was a lady. But do you think that this was discrimination? Do you guys consider this discrimination? Put in the comments yes or no. Was this discrimination, or was she overreacting? What do you guys think that Starbucks is not prejudiced? It was the employee. Okay, so I don't think Starbucks is prejudiced, but at some point, the employee has to take accountability for that, for her actions. And the CEO holds responsibility because it's his organization. So at some point, did this person get sensitivity training? Did they get harassment training? Did they get any type of workplace training? Nashay also says it was discrimination. Discrimination on the employee standpoint is what you're saying. I can kind of agree with that, but we don't know the whole story. We have half the story. We only saw the part where it started recording, but if you listen to the person that was recording it, she was there the whole time. There was other witnesses that was there. One time did the police officers go and ask for witness statements. I did not see that happen. They didn't go ask around like, did you see this person be belligerent? Did you see this person loitering, trespassing, anything? So that kind of concerns me that the police didn't take that protocol to go and find out more, instead of they just went ahead and arrested, these two African-American gentlemen. let's see what, the company is accountable because of the employee's actions. Yes, Monica, the company is held accountable. And that's why Kevin Johnson has went and said his statement, the CEO, because he is accountable for all of his employees in all 28,000 locations. So I do commend him for coming out right away, though. From the employee base, half of the story. Well, yeah, it could be. We don't have the full story. We don't know what the employee went through for her to even think to call 911. Did she go over to them several times and say, hey, you guys need to order something? Or, you know, our management doesn't allow you to, you know, stay here without ordering. But from what I hear is that they did tell them we were waiting on somebody. And once that person came, that we would then order once the person arrived. So that kind of baffles me that she would then call 911. Did she feel threatened? Did she feel some kind of way, or was this really truly discrimination? We don't know because we have not heard from her. Both men were real estate agents. Yes, that has been confirmed that they were both real estate agents and they were waiting on their friend to come. And as you can see in the video, if everyone's watched the video, if you haven't watched the Starbucks video with the two black men being arrested, please go watch it on YouTube. You can go to all the trending topics and you will be able to see that. But you can see in the video that other patrons were there not ordering anything and using their Wi-Fi, and they didn't get the same treatment as the two African-American gentlemen did. So we just, as a whole, as a community, I mean, there's so many things that are coming up that what do we do? What do we do when this type of stuff happens? How do we come together and figure out what is the best solution? I don't know at this time. It's kind of just really heart-wrenching to me to, you know, have this happen to them. You know, I really feel, you know, saddened by that and how the police handled it. I feel that the police could have intervened and handled it a lot better than what they did. I don't feel that they gave those two men, they didn't give those two men enough information to arrest them. I don't think that they had enough information, if you know what I'm saying. And the cops didn't have enough information to arrest them. They went off, you know, an employer, you know, the employee calling and saying, hey, these two men, maybe they weren't ordering anything, whatever, and she felt that she needed to call 911. I don't even know what their employee handbook says about people that come into the establishment and they don't order anything. Is there a policy? What are the procedures that happens? You know, I've seen, you know, people that are homeless come into Starbucks and they're more than welcome to patronize at the locations that I've seen, that I've gone to. Both men will sue the police and Starbucks. I agree. I think that they will get legal attorneys and a representation will be made by legal counsel. And somebody will definitely represent those two young men, and they'll have to seek justice. But I really applaud both of them for the way that they carried themselves. They didn't resist arrest. They weren't loud. They just basically helped me understand what's going on. I don't understand why I'm being arrested, but they handled themselves very well. And I commend them for that. Hit them in the pocket so it will never happen again. In HR, what we do is we're human resources. So we monitor humans. You can't control every human and their actions, but you can put in procedures and policies to protect you for the next time this may happen. So I'm sure the HR is being involved with their corporate right now working with legal counsel and figuring out what can we do immediately to put in a protocol or procedure so this does not happen again. But you cannot control a human. I mean, humans are human. They're going to do what they want to do when they want to do it. So, but if there's a protocol in place and she's violated the protocol, then she should be reprimanded up into including termination. So depending on the offense, this person should be, if she's already been reprimanded for something similar, she should be terminated right away. If she just really didn't understand the protocol or what we're supposed to do to get people out of the establishment, and she just went ahead and called 911, she should have then got her manager involved or somebody involved, a supervisor authority, so then they could have made a call and figured out what to do in those particular situations. Okay, you've seen homeless people and there's nothing said to them. Correct. We have Mary Kay meetings every week and we have not purchased anything, and that's at the Starbucks. Okay. This is sad. One employee making a company look bad. Starbucks really is a good company. My son works there, and they do so much for their employees. Yes, we're not saying Starbucks is a bad company, but what we're saying is that this particular employee in this particular situation has now ranked national news. So since this actually worldwide news, because Starbucks is worldwide, so this can hurt the organization. So what, as an organization, what is Starbucks going to do to remedy this situation right away? Like I said, I do commend Kevin Johnson, the CEO of Starbucks, for coming out and apologizing. That is a first step to healing. But what are the next steps? What are the policies? What are the procedures that you're going to put in place so this doesn't happen again? And if it does happen again, what are the actions going to be taken to discipline or the employees if there's something like this happens again? The police were complicit also. They could have simply asked them to leave and not arrest them. I do agree with that, Judy. I do agree that the police played a big part in this. They could have been the bigger person and said, hey, you you guys haven't ordered anything. I know you're waiting on a friend of yours to come. Why don't you guys go ahead and wait outside until your friend arrives? And once your friend arrives, you guys can then come back in the establishment and order something. But right now, since you're not purchasing anything, it's considered loitering or trespassing. So we want to go ahead and walk you out. We don't want to arrest you at this time, but if you don't leave the premises, then we will have to arrest you. I don't think that conversation was had. So that's where I'm a little concerned on the way that the cops handled the situation. But being in HR, we're for the employer, we're for the employee, but we're also for the customer. So if a customer comes and complains about a situation, we also have to be the voice of reason in these particular situations. Is Starbucks a franchise? You know what? I don't know if Starbucks is a franchise. I think it's owned and operated by one corporation. I don't think it's franchised. The police do discriminate as well. We've seen a lot of that in the news lately. And I'm kind of getting very tired of seeing these circumstances, these situations happening, and we're in 2018, and I just don't understand why these type of situations still happen. There was another incident that happened at Old Navy where a gentleman walked in, an African-American gentleman. He had on an Old Navy coat that he had bought previously, and he went shopping, he got some stuff, and when he went to purchase the things that he wanted to from the store, they also said, well, what about that coat that you have on that you got from the store? And he's like, no, I walked in with that. So he's like, no, this is my coat, I walked in with it. He goes, oh no, and the store clerk was like, no, we sell that here. He goes, no, I know you sell that here. I bought it a few weeks ago. So they argue back and forth, and he says, well, check the cameras. I came in with this coat. This is not something I'm going to pay for. They went back and forth. The manager got involved. And basically he got held up and called a liar for, they thought that he was stealing, basically. And so Old Navy, I mean, they went in on Old Navy. So it's just, employees need to be a little bit more friendly with customers, more understanding, have a little bit more empathy for their customers, and just get a better understanding instead of jumping to conclusions. That Old Navy situation ended. They ended up calling the police, and he didn't care because he knew that he didn't steal anything. They end up looking at the cameras. The cameras showed that he did come in the store with that particular jacket on, and not one time did the clerk or the manager give this young man an apology. So just certain things like that, just like it destroys the buying experience. It just really destroys you know, how we think or how we want to spend our dollars, and on what establishments do we want to spend our dollars. So I'm not making this a black thing or a white thing or Asian thing or a Hispanic thing. It's just a human thing at this point. Humans need to be more empathetic. They need to just be more concerned about others. Be just, you know, be more concerned, be human, be like, just drop down all these stereotypes about certain races, and be fair, you know, be fair across the board. In this Starbucks situation, there was other Caucasian people that were at the establishment, and they didn't get the same treatment. They were saying other people in there were not buying anything as well. They were on their laptops, they were doing business, they were doing other things, but the two African American people were pinpoint or, you know, singled out. So I just think that's really unfair, and we got to do better. We got to do better. And, you know, it's in HR, I always say nothing surprises me in HR, because I've seen it all. I've dealt with it all, and been in this industry for over 15 years. And I just hope that incidents like this become less and less and not the norm. Because we just have to do better as a people. There's too many things going on in this world, and, you know, things that are going on right now. We're at war with Syria. You know, there's so many big things, and now we're dealing with, you know, the cop on black crime, the cops killing black people for no reason. You know, and people are making excuses. Well, they should have, you know, cooperated. They should have this, they should have that. That does not give anyone the right to kill anyone. It does not give them the right to take somebody's life. So, I just, you know, wanted to come on today and talk to you guys about that. The hate is growing like wildfires. The hate is growing like wildfires, and it's what it is that it's becoming our new norm, which is not good. You know, discrimination, hate crimes, you know, and even, you know, to be honest with you, the black on black crime, that's astonishing. You know, it goes back all the way back to the days when, you know, there was a lot of gangs, the Bloods and the Crips and, you know, all of that. I mean, that type of crime itself is really bad as well. So we can't just talk about the cops on the blacks, but what about black on black crime as well? That needs to be reduced. That needs to be a conversation as well. I know that there's big people out there that have had the conversations, like The Game and Snoop Dogg and, you know, Ice-T and Ice Cube, and let's, you know, all come together. But we just have to, you know, come together as a people. Everyone needs to come together and stop all this, you know, nonsense of discrimination. We need to live in a world of peace, and there's so much going on. There's so much violence, and I don't want it to be our new norm. I don't want it to be our new norm. And we just have to do better and be better as individuals and people. So I see a lot of questions coming in. I wonder where the manager was. Well, that, I haven't heard any statements from the manager. I'm sure they're talking with legal and corporate and all that stuff. But if the manager was present, shame on the manager. The manager should have stepped in and said, hey, this has escalated way too far. We just really would like you to, purchase something. If you're going to be waiting for a friend, maybe you can step outside and wait on a friend. And then when you're ready to order, you can come back and order. But I really think that, the manager should have controlled the situation, and it didn't have to escalate to calling 911 when that's something that a manager or supervisor could have handled in-house instead of making it now a trending topic on all social medias. And if you're liking this, please go ahead and share this so other people can watch the replay if they're not already joined in. But this is a topic that, really we need to have open dialogue about. If we don't say something, that's not good. We all have a voice. We all need to say something and be accountable for our actions. Be accountable for the things that we do. This morning, this is nothing new. What a shame. Well, it's not anything new, but it's being highlighted more. You think about all of these different movements. So you think about the Me Too movement. That, it's been going on. It's been happening. But now people have a voice and they're speaking on it. So we don't want to not say anything because it's not right. What happened to those two young men are not right. Whether white, black, Asian, Hispanic, whatever, it's not right what happened. So what are we going to do about it? What can we do about it as a whole? We can call it out, and that's what happened, and it went viral, and all of the media outlets have this information. But if we silence it and we don't say anything, then we're just as wrong. We're saying, oh, okay, it's okay for the police to come in and arrest people that don't order anything. It's okay for people to touch each other or do sexual harassment in the workplace. No, it's not okay. But at some point, we have to take a stand for something. So that's what we're doing, is having an open dialogue to express and to get other people's opinions and just keep an open forum going. I don't see anything wrong with that. I think it's very healthy to get your concerns out and being able to express yourself with the things that are going on in the world. I do think we have a lot bigger issues like the Syria issue right now. That's just crazy. We would go to war and fight this battle with Syria. But what they're doing to women and children are not, it's just really bad. I just feel that how they're, bombing, children and women and kids and communities is just really sad. So we got to do better as a whole. And that's what this conversation was about tonight, is to get the dialogue going and to get people engaged. If we don't stand for something, we will fall for anything. And yes, that's true, Monica. If we don't stand for something, we will fall. We will fall together, not divided, but together we will fall because we don't stand up for our rights and what's right and what's wrong. So yeah, it's been going on years and years. If you want to really go back, it's been going on for 400 years, slavery and how all that started, but let's not take it there. We're in 2018. Stuff that happened a long time ago happened, and we've overcome that, but we still have a long way to go. We still have a long way to go to get us at a good place, to get us at a good point, to get us at a good spot. But it takes this open dialogue. It takes us talking about it. It takes us to figure out, what are we going to do better? What is Starbucks going to do better as an organization to get more people aware And what policies and what procedures are they going to put in place to make sure this does not happen again? I'm sure they're all over it. I'm sure that they're going to have conversations between the legal team of these two African Americans with Starbucks. They will have an open dialogue, and how the police department in Philly handled this situation. There will be open dialogue. There will be someone held accountable for these actions. And I think people should be held accountable. I think that people need to be held accountable for all their actions. This employee, Batista, probably thought, "Hey, I'm just trying to get them out of the Starbucks because they're not buying anything." But at the same time, is she treating everyone equally and the same? And some people's thought process is not that way. But as an employee working for an employer, you need to think of those things before you act on them. So I like the healthy dialogue. As people are joining, please go ahead and share this live. I am Angela Anderson, the #1 HR expert, and I come to you guys today every Sunday at 6 p.m. with my live stream. And today's topic, because it is trending, is the two African American gentlemen that got arrested at Starbucks. And how is this impacting you? And did you have any questions for the #1 HR expert, and how this all transpired or anything? Kevin Johnson has already released a statement, the CEO of Starbucks, and he is very apologetic in regards to the situation. He has apologized for the employee's behavior. But then how do we move on from this? I know I see people saying that they're going to protest or boycott Starbucks. I don't know if that's the answer, but what are we going to do as patrons of Starbucks? Are we going to continue to go there? Are we going to shop elsewhere? Are we going to find other establishments? I don't know. I don't know what the remedy is for this, but I know that things need to change. We should take care of home before trying to clean up another country. Black people are dying at an alarming rate in 2018. Yes, that is true, Monroe. We do have our own stuff going on here in the U.S., but Syria is taking it to another level, and the U.S. felt that they need to intervene. War is not always the best thing, but sometimes in certain cases we do need to go to war. So I could only imagine the things that, these children and women and men are going through over in Syria. But we have a lot of issues here in the U.S., but, we also have to help other countries as well. And if chemical bombs were coming over here in the United States, we would hope other countries would also intervene and help us as well. So thank you for that comment. Alice, thank you for the insightful information. You're very welcome, Alice. I'm just starting the open dialogue, and I hope that this helps just engaging conversation. As an HR professional, I get into many situations where employee relations, where I have to be that advocate for the employee. I have to be the advocate for the employer. And I find myself sometimes in the middle having to juggle that. But also there's another dynamic if you're in the retail or hospitality industry where you're dealing with the customers, and that's another dynamic which Starbucks has to deal with now. Is now two of their customers are very unhappy and have been arrested for, right now we don't know, no reason. They said it's trespassing, they say it's loitering. Whatever the case may be, I don't think that this would stand up in a court of law. I don't think that this is Starbucks goals. No, they want it to be a community. They want it to be a place where people can come and order coffee, put on their Wi-Fi, and really being a welcoming establishment. I don't think that this is something that they wanted to happen. I don't think that Starbucks is a discriminatory place. I think the actions of the employee just needs to be addressed, and addressed immediately. I don't know if this Starbucks barista will be terminated. I don't know. I don't know what their policy says. I don't know what their employee handbook says. I don't know what their protocol is. But this is something that needs to be addressed not only at Starbucks, but now this is an open time for all companies to look at their strategies and what they're going to do, because if this happened at Starbucks, this can happen at McDonald's. If it happened at McDonald's, this can happen at Burger King. I mean, it can happen anywhere. But what are companies going to do to protect themselves from this happening? Of course, a new policy will be identified and established, and everyone will have to sign off on it, that you're aware of this new protocol. If this happens, this should happen. If this happens, then this should happen. Have countermeasures to make sure that a situation like this never occurs again. I'm not saying it will never occur, because like I said earlier in the video, and if you're watching the replay, you'll understand what I'm saying. And earlier in the video, I stated that humans, that's why I'm a human resource professional. We are human. So we can only control human behavior so much. So it's up to the individuals, the employees, to be able to discern whether they have to use their own judgment. In this case, it should have been escalated to a manager or a supervisor, but the employee took it on their own actions to call 911, get the police involved, and then the police not taking what I feel is not the right actions. They should have just told those two young men to leave the establishment, wait for their friend in their cars until that person arrived. But they took the stance and, we're the cops, we're here to control, and we're going to arrest you. They took that authority stance instead of saying, hey, this is really small. There's no one hurt. There's, nothing going on. There's no one being belligerent. There's no drugs. There's no, drinking. There's nothing volatile in this situation. So we're going to just tell you to go home, and we're going to just wrap this up, and you guys just go on your way, and we're going to go on our way. That's really how it should have ended. But it didn't end that way. It ended up with two young men arrested, and now they have to deal with all of this on social media and people discussing this topic. So I'm going to go back to the comments. Monica says, thank you, Angela, for a great topic. Thank you for joining and being a part of the conversation. Christine says it's really the employee's fault, not the company. I don't think boycotting is the answer. I don't think boycotting is the answer either. I just don't feel that it's the company's fault. It's the employee's actions. So Monroe says, let's be honest. The CEO is looking to do damage control and cover his blank. Apologizing is not enough. She should be fired at the very minimum. Well, I don't know what the protocol is. I don't know what their employee manual states about customers coming in and not ordering stuff, and how many times. The thing is that we have not seen her side of the story. We don't know if these two young men, she's, went up to them several times and said, hey, our policy here at this establishment is for you to order something in order for you to stay here and use the Wi-Fi and, just lounge around. I don't know what that particular Philly's particular Starbucks, what their protocol is. So we have to understand what their protocol is. At that particular establishment, they could have a protocol is if no one ordered anything, then you are to tell them you must order something or you must leave. So we don't know what the actual protocol is because we do not know what the Batista statement is. Right now we have a video that shows the engagement with the officers. They don't even show us who the person that called. So we don't have that piece of information to go off of. So we're kind of just looking at it from their point of view. So until they get all of the facts identified, I don't think you can fire somebody right away. You have to get all the facts, and a full investigation has to be done and made. And then you can make a determination. Was she negligent in this? Did she have any animosity towards these two individuals? Did she know them? We don't know what the whole story is. We just know what we've been shown on social media through a video camera. I don't think it was right what happened, but I do think that we got to just do better. We got to do better. Okay, so someone chimes in and says, it would not have happened to a white person, period. Fire the manager who called the police. I don't know if it was the manager that called the police. If you have that information, great. I don't know if it was the manager, if it was an employee, but I heard it was the bartista that called, which is not a manager. But like she said, this wouldn't have had happened to a white person. I don't know, and I can't say if it would have happened to a white person, but I still think it's not Starbucks' fault as a whole. It's the employee and their actions and what is their protocol at the location. So I'm going to stand by that we only have half the story right now. We don't know what the Starbucks protocol is for people that do not purchase things and are waiting on others, or, that. But from what Kevin Johnson, the CEO of Starbucks, has stated, is that it's a community for gathering. It's a coffee house, and it's very welcoming, and it's a welcome place with comfortable chairs for you to lounge in. They have trendy music and Wi-Fi. A lot of people go for the Wi-Fi. They pull up their laptop. They start doing projects. They start working on projects from work. And it's just somewhere that they can meet their friends and have a good time. Now, if it's no longer that, then that's going to be a problem for people to continue to go to Starbucks and feel comfortable there. Bottom line, I hope they sue and become mega millionaires. No excuse for that employees' behavior. I think they will get an attorney. I mean, that's in our society. That's normally what people do, is get attorneys. There's probably attorneys beating down their door right now to take their case. But I just really applaud Kevin Johnson for coming out right away and giving his apology to the two young men. He also did state that he would like to meet those two individuals personally so he can actually apologize in person. So I really commend him for doing that. Yes. There's some other people joining in. Charlie says, stop using the words white and black, stop labeling people by color, keep recording the police and stop labeling people of color, keep recording the police and take all these videos to the courts in the class action lawsuit, adjust policing to ethnicity-based law enforcement. We can take out black, white, Asian, Hispanic, but when it all boils down to it, we are black, we are white, we are Asian, we are Hispanic. So, and we can't, what are the words I want to say? We can't go into it blindly. There's a lot of racial tension in the U.S., and sometimes coming from our president, Mr. Trump. So we can't be blind in that matter. So I'm not saying it's a black or a white thing. What I'm saying is that it's wrong thing. How about that? We know right from wrong, and in that situation, it was wrong. So how can we make this right? Now, moving forward, we need to look at new policies, new procedures, protocols, things like that. So things like this won't happen again in any establishment, not just Starbucks, but any establishment, whether that's Applebee's, whether that's Chili's, whether that's any establishment that we go to patronize at. We want to make sure that protocols are in place, that things that the employees know, if something escalates, what to do and what not to do. I think that this was kind of blown out of proportion, and that it could have been handled a little bit better from the employee standpoint, the Bartista, as well as from the policeman. I think that this situation could have been handled a lot better. There was a white customer saying they have sat there and not bought anything and was never bothered. Please go back and do more research. I did hear that as well, Nicole, but we're still jumping to conclusions. I don't think we can jump to conclusions. We have to get all of the facts, do a thorough investigation. And as like I said, I'm an HR professional, so we have to gather facts before we make assumptions on what. Right now, we just have one side of the story and not the full story. So, like I said, the Bartista has, I haven't seen any statements from the Bartista. So I have investigated, I have looked up and researched this. I have looked at, other people's statements, but I have not seen the Bartista statement. So we're still looking at it from a one-sided point of view. I do understand that the police officers should have interviewed people there at the establishment, and people were saying, hey, they didn't do anything. I didn't see anything. I didn't see them being belligerent. I didn't see them doing anything wrong. Why are they being arrested? We did all hear that on the video. But we're not the jury. We're not the judge. What we're here to do is just open dialogue and have conversation about what's going on, and have an open voice or a way that we can chime in and talk about this. But I do feel there needs to be protocols, policies, new policies need to be updated, procedures in handling customer and patrons that go to the establishments. The rest is documented on their record. It could be documented on their record, but they can also get it expunged. So I really feel that this will be dismissed in any court of law. So we'll probably not even go on to their record as being arrested. They'll probably just get it expunged and removed from their records. They have a female attorney and she has spoken out. Okay, since I've been on this live, I haven't seen anything about their attorney or anything like that. So good. They have an attorney and they're working with legal to get this remedied. So that's excellent. Thank you all for joining. Please come in. Please share this. I think this is a great dialogue, a great topic. And be mindful that we should all be respectful on this live. And I will be sharing this to all my social media. So if you want to hear more of my trending topics that I talk about on a weekly basis on Sundays, you can find me at Number One HR Expert. Fan page is One HR Expert. And you can also find me on YouTube at the Number One HR Expert. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram with the same handles. Number One, my Instagram handle is Number One. That's no.1_HR Expert. And then you can also find me on Twitter at the Number One HR Expert. And also you can go to my website, which is www.1hrexpert.com. If somebody wouldn't mind putting that link into the comments, www.1hrexpert.com. I've greatly appreciated that, so I can pin it to the front. Okay, so Monica says, I would love to get my hands on the 911 call to see who really called. That would be awesome. Maybe eventually it will be released to the public so we can all listen in. Yes, Nashay says we don't have all the facts, and she agrees with me. We don't want to jump into the fire when we don't know everything. We can only go by what we've seen so far and heard so far. So, but as a community, as a people, what can we do to make this right? There were no charges, Monroe says. There were no charges. Okay, well, hopefully there weren't any charges, and they'll just be released, and they can talk to their attorney about everything that's going on. Jackie says, thank you for this conversation. You're welcome. Charlie says, if the area is over 70% African American, then obviously African Americans should patrol those areas. There actually was an African American police officer that did show up, and they were all dialoguing. The two Caucasian and the one African American police officer were all having dialogue together. And I guess after their dialogue, they thought that these two young men should be arrested. So that's what happened. Okay, Starbucks did not press charges. They were released at the police station. Well, that's great news. And I thank you guys for informing me as we go along with this live. As you're coming in, there's a lot more people coming in. Please go ahead and share this live. This is just an open forum where we could talk about this trending topic about the two African-American young men that were arrested, which are officially, they're real estate agents. So they're professional young men, and they were arrested at Starbucks earlier. And we're just having open dialogue here today. Okay, so Monroe says they were held for 9 hours and not charged. Well, that's excellent news. 9 hours seems pretty excessive. I guess they had to do all of their interview process and go through the rigmarole to get through, the booking system and being released. And then also, I'm sure they made a call to an attorney or somebody before they could. Okay, thank you so much, Sharika, for putting out my website, onehrexpert.com. I really appreciate that. Well, in theory, if you're asked to leave and you don't, you're trespassing. Yes, Charlie, you're absolutely right. But where the concern lies is that there were other people in the establishment that were doing the same thing, and they were not asked to leave, and the police weren't called on them. So how can we figure that one out? I mean, you have Caucasian people dining and not ordering. Then you have African Americans doing the same thing, and the police are called on the African Americans to leave the establishment, but not done to the same. I'm just talking about being fair, being transparent. If it was done to all of them, great. It's all said and done. It's a wash. We're all good. But when you treat one race one way and you treat another race another way, then we have disparity, we have discrimination, we have cause to get upset. That's why this is trending. That's why it's a hot topic, because of that. Of course, right now we don't have all the facts, and I'm the first to say I'm about fact-based. Let's get all the facts. Let's interview the barista. Let's interview the people in the Starbucks. Let's get down to the root cause of what happened and what transpired. All we're doing right now is having an open dialogue based off a video that was all of a minute or two that we saw. So, but this is healthy because we're opening the dialogue. We're opening the channels so people could have a place, a forum to speak about what happened earlier. And I'm, if you guys are here watching the replay or you just joined me, I was talking about this really concerns me because it hits home, because I have two young gentlemen, young African-American boys that I have raised, and I would hate to see something like this happen to them. So what can we do to do better? I just want to do better and be better as a whole. Is it boycotting? I don't think that boycotting is going to help this. I just think that having open dialogue and getting the message out that this was wrong. If we look at it as humans, there's right and there's wrong. So in this case, it was wrong. It was wrong to do what happened. First, call the police. Did they escalate it to a supervisor or manager? Did the police act appropriately? Did they take all the witness statements? Did they do all of the things that they should have done to investigate what was really going on? Or did they just come in there like a bull in a china cabinet and just, charge at these two young men and tell them to leave the establishment, and then not only leave the establishment, but leave the establishment handcuffed? So what does that say? What does that say about the police? The police need to be peacemakers. I feel the police need to be peacemakers, and they should have been there and they should have said, okay, this is nothing. I don't see anything wrong here. Are you guys going to order something? Or are you not going to order something? Who are you waiting on? They blatantly said they were waiting on a friend. The friend then arrived and he's like, hey, why are my friends getting arrested? What's going on? Help me understand. So there was dialogue. People were saying what was going on. Other people in the establishment was saying, hey, I don't understand why these people are being arrested. This was plain as day. There was nothing going on. They were sitting there waiting innocently, waiting for a friend to come so then they could purchase something at Starbucks and have their meeting or whatever was transpiring at that time. So I don't get it. So thank you guys for dialoguing with me. Yes, Carlis, it is unbelievable. The chief of police, who is black, said the arrest occurred because Starbucks called. 1, 2, when they were asked to leave, they didn't, and made a comment of Starbucks associates' salary. I don't know what else is said on here. Okay, that is a public place, yes, but even in a public establishment, Nashay, you have to purchase something or buy something. I've been to Jack in the Boxes. I've been to Burger Kings where they don't even allow you to use a restroom unless you purchase something, unless you're actually patronizing at their establishment. So I've seen that happen before. Normally, if that happens, I'll go to the bathroom and then come and order a small fry or a drink to go or something like that, just so they know that I've purchased something from the organization and not just coming in to use their restrooms or loiter, as they would say, loiter or trespass. So they do have the right to not service anyone if you're not purchasing. They have the right to refuse service, all of those things. But I'd like to know what the protocol and the policy and the procedure and the employee handbook states what they're supposed to do for somebody that comes to an establishment that does not purchase something at Starbucks. We're not talking about Burger King. We're not talking about McDonald's. We're not talking about other establishments, but we are talking about Starbucks. And what is their protocol? So the CEO says that it's a gathering spot. We offer trendy music. We offer lounging, good chairs, so people can feel comfortable to come there and have their coffee and have their tea and mingle and hang out with their friends. But this is not happening as of that establishment in Philly and that employee calling the police on them. Thank you for putting that, Monica, that my Twitter handle, 1HR Expert at Twitter. Okay, yes, it's a public, but that's why the CEO said he would apologize to them personally. That associate will be trained on when to call the police and when not to, and confirming they do not discriminate. Yes, that's very good. Thank you, Shakira, for putting that information. I don't think that Starbucks would intentionally discriminate against somebody, but the establishment, the whole Starbucks, the corporation wouldn't discriminate against somebody. But that particular employee, we don't know what her motives are. We don't know her background. We don't know, what transpired on her part with the interactions with those employees. So we don't have that data. Charlie says he believes that the law enforcement is to blame. I kind of agree with you, Charlie. I think that they could have handled it in a different situation, a different manner. I think that they could have came in and kind of helped me understand what's going on, and not like, I'm the police, I'm here to fix this problem, and I think the best solution is to arrest these two men. I think they came with the wrong approach. I think that they should have been more like concerned, like, what's going on? How can I help? How can I make this work? How, kind of like that. More open, more concerned, more let me figure this out. But they came in kind of like, just let's get this done. Let's get them out of here. It wasn't like police are supposed to be to protect and to serve. Where's the serving part in that? Where was the protection? I felt like it was just kind of, really done at a bad angle in the police light. And with the police in so much hot water right now, why would you want to escalate this particular situation to what it is today, trending globally on Instagram, Twitter, all the social medias, all of the newspapers, all of the TV stations? Why would they want to do that with all of the heightened stuff that's going on already, with the police officers killing people for no reason? Thank goodness that it didn't escalate to anything like that, where these two young men would have been shot and killed. In today's world, that's what we're dealing with right now. It could have escalated to that, but it didn't. Thank God it didn't. But we have to understand, police have to be more understanding of a situation. How can I de-escalate this situation instead of escalating it? Because I really feel that it was blown out of proportion, and it was small that just exploded to this big thing. And I just really feel that it didn't have to go there. I think the police could have handled it, Charlie, in a different light. Yes, this whole thing is a mess and it should have never happened. I totally agree. I think it was blown out of proportion, and we could have handled that a lot differently. Nicole says she does not blame the police. The blame is on the employee who felt the need to call the police. Well, it started there. It started there, Nicole. But when the police arrived, they shouldn't have done what they did. What they should have done is taken statements. They should have de-escalated the situation. They should have talked to the employee. They should have talked to the manager. They should have done other things than just go straight to arresting somebody. That's the part that I think that the police could have done better with. They could have done some more, and I'm sure they've gone through sensitivity training, all of those measures, but did they use it in this particular situation? They're supposed to diffuse arguments, diffuse problems, and I think they just escalated and made it something bigger. So that's where the blame comes in on the police for not handling that situation appropriately. So one, the employee's to blame. Two, where was the manager? They have some blame. The supervisor has some blame in this. Three, the cops have blame in this as well. I think that, like I said, it was blown out of proportion and it could have been diffused. Now, the person that could have made it de-escalate is the police. They are there to protect and to serve. And I don't feel that they came in with that attitude or that demeanor. They came in like a bull in a china cabinet. Punch, 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 pull, 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 ask questions later. So I feel that they could have handled that a lot differently, and it wouldn't have been a trending topic. I wouldn't be talking about this right now. You wouldn't be on my live right now. And we would not have this plastered all over social media, plastered all in the news, because they just didn't handle it right. And as an HR professional, we have to be concerned about everybody involved, the employee, the employer, and the customer. So the employee, right or wrong, they were wrong. Two, the manager, where was the manager during all of this? Don't know. If the manager escalated it to call the police, then they should be reprimanded or counseled or coached in getting some training and sensitivity training. The employee handbook needs to be revised on what are we going to do in these particular situations. I'm sure they're working on that right now. Legal has already defined and going to issue out all kind of new employee trainings on how do we, handle our customers if they're not patronizing with us, if they're not buying from our establishment. Those are the things that, we should be figuring out. Like, where do we move from here? Where do we go from here? So I hope that you understand what I was talking about, Nicole, is that the police should have diffused the problem and not escalated it, if that makes sense. Yes, Charlie, the police could have made them leave without arresting them. I totally agree with that. I totally agree. At Charlie, I don't think the police is to blame if SB never called to begin with, there wouldn't have been an arrest. If Starbucks would have never called, there wouldn't have been an arrest. They should have just left and then made a complaint. I think are too many pages. It got cut off. Sorry, I couldn't read the whole thing, Shakira. See, the police are programmed to book them. They could be meeting their quota. I don't know. The police should have used common sense, Paul says. Yeah, I mean, technically they could have diffused the problem. They could have diffused it, but what they did is escalated it, and that just blew up in their face. So, because the police officers get away with it, if there's no consequences, nothing will change. True, and that's why these topics are good to talk about. Like, what are we going to do as a people? Are we going to still, go to Starbucks? To be honest with you, I'm probably still going to go to Starbucks. That's not like my first choice. I really actually like 7-Eleven coffee, to be honest with you, French vanilla flavor. But and that's just a side note because we're so serious right now. But Starbucks is not like my primary choice. I mean, I have patronized there before, and I have used their facility and bought Starbucks gift cards and all that good stuff. Like I said, I'm not bashing Starbucks in no form or fashion. I'm having an open dialogue with you guys. And like I said, I really commend the CEO at Starbucks, Kevin Johnson, for really just coming out right away and not brushing it under the rug and addressing and apologizing to these two young men. It's proof that police aren't being trained improperly. It's proof that police aren't being trained improperly. I don't know. I can't really speak to that because I know they go through thorough training, but I can't really speak to that. The police 911 call is the important piece. Most cops could have not come out unless it was necessary. The police 911 call is the important piece. Yeah, we're missing that piece. I don't know if we'll ever hear it or be able to listen to it, but we don't know what the Bartista said. We really don't. So, yeah, there was no real threat to the general public, so the police was just uncalled for. I really do agree with that. Charlie, you're right on point. There was no need for the police to come and get involved with that situation, but instead of the police diffusing it, they just escalated it, which was kind of totally wrong. Nashay says she will stop going to. Nashay says she will continue to go to Starbucks, and she does not blame them. It was the employee at fault. So, and also Monica states companies are responsible for their employees' right or wrong actions regardless. And that is a true statement, Monica. That is very true. I'm going to plug up because my phone says that I'm dying, so bear with me. My phone was dying. Sorry, guys. But yeah, so it is the company's responsibility at the end of the day, but it's also the actions of the employee that is more concerning at this point, alarming. All these incidents of police abusing their authority in situations where there was clearly no viable threat. Yeah, I don't know why it escalates escalates to this. I don't get it. I don't understand why it escalates to getting, being booked and put in a police car and going down to the police station. I don't understand why that escalated that far. They just need to be retrained, I guess. I don't know what's going to happen to the police officers. Probably pending investigation, they'll be put on paid administration leave until the investigation is completed. But 9 times out of 10, they'll probably still have their jobs. So, it's unfortunate, but this is the 2018. This is the day and the life that we're living in. So Nicole says, if a business calls the police and states they do not want a person at their establishment, the police come out to make them leave. Yes, that is true. They have the right to refuse service to anyone. But I think the Starbucks mantra is a community. It's a gathering place. It's a place where people come to use their Wi-Fi. It's where, people come to have a latte or a coffee or meet with friends. And I've had meetings at Starbucks. So it's not the norm establishment. So we don't want to lump them all in with other establishments. We want to just want to make sure that we're talking about Starbucks establishment because it's a little bit different, and the way that they've made their community around that, it's a gathering spot. And not a lot of establishments are like that. And that's why a lot of people go to Starbucks, is because they like to go. They like to meet with their friends there. They find it very friendly and inviting, and they don't get kicked out, because that's kind of what their mantra is. That's what they're about. That's their culture. That's the culture of the company. So let's see. I'm going back. Sorry, I'm trying to read these comments as fast as I can. They've done it all the time for decades. It's the biggest gang in America. Speaking to what, Shakira? What are you talking about? They do it all the time. Are you talking? Oh, you're talking about the cops. Okay, sorry. I didn't read into that. At least they didn't beat them this time. Yes, I'm so glad there was no body injured, hurt, killed in this particular situation, because it could have went south based on the 2 African Americans. If they would have resisted arrest, caused a scene, maybe fought back, resisted, anything that could have caused the police to escalate even further, and then bring out their weapons or anything like that. So I'm so glad that it didn't escalate to that. But we just got to do better. We got to do better. Paul says, plain and simple, 911 is only for emergency purposes. I do agree with that. 911, I don't think the police should have come out for this. I think they should have handled it better. That's all I can say, Paul. The police should have handled the situation a little bit better. Shakira says, they are not going on leave or an investigation. Chief of police has spoken and verbally indicated no fault was found. So, yeah, they can say that, but their attorneys will say something different in how they handled the whole situation. And so that's what the chief of police is protecting his organization. Of course, he's going to say that. But as we look further into it, there will be some other things that are going to come down. So this will not be the last time you hear about this situation, especially if they've already gotten legal counsel to represent them. This won't be the last time we hear about this. The word emergency is different for everyone, just like the word affordable. The CEO has to define the word for his employees according to Starbucks standards. Yes. He really does. Only call 911 if this happens, if this happens. If there's a burger, if there's somebody's robbing the joint, if, somebody's using foul language and is in disorderly conduct, things like that the police should be called. In any other circumstance, the manager, the supervisor could have jumped in and kind of handled that situation if they felt that the two gentlemen weren't patronizing or buying something at their establishment. So, yes. Okay. Starbucks is a public gathering, not a club. No, it's not a club. It's a social environment. I've gone there. I've seen people with their headphones on. I've seen people on their laptops doing stuff for work. So it's really a community environment where you feel safe to go there and patronize at their establishment. So they've done a good job of branding that. They've done a great job at branding their establishment, and people feel comfortable and feel safe, and they don't feel any kind of way. I think a lot of people go there, and that's kind of the culture that they've built, and they've done a great job at that. And I don't discount Starbucks not one time for building such a great brand and such, what, like the CEO says, a community. They've built a community based on their Wi-Fi, based on their comfortability of their chairs, based on their lounging. You can come and lounge. You can listen to their music. It's not a nightclub where they have it all loud and beatboxing, but they have it to where it's subtle music. You just feel like it's a good zing environment. And now to have this come out, it goes against their company culture. I don't know what that means. I will be brewing at home. Thank you. So some people are going to, be boycotting Starbucks. Like I said, I don't think that's the answer. I just think that more dialogue needs to happen. I think that these situations we just need to have the open dialogue. We need to talk more about it and how it makes us feel as individuals, customers, paying customers, patronizing at these establishments. What are the protocols and procedures that they'll put in place going forward? That's really the reality of it. What are they going to do going forward to ensure that this doesn't happen again? Let's see. I don't see any other comments here. I really appreciate everybody coming in and having this open dialogue. If you like the conversation, please share this with your friends and family. I'd like everyone to, in the comments, put where they're from, their city and state. That's always helpful, so I know where my audience is. And it just helps me understand my audience when you put your city and state, so I can do things. I don't know if anyone in here is from Philly. That would be nice to see if they've ever gone to that establishment. Do they know that establishment? But yeah, so we got to just keep the open dialogue going. I felt this was a needed conversation. I do Facebook Lives, I do YouTube Lives, and you can find me on all of the social medias, YouTube, Instagram. You can also find me I have an HR group for HR professionals that we just talk about different topics and stuff like that. So I also mentor people on how to get into HR. So if anyone's interested in getting to HR, into this great profession, you can leave your comment below. I'll be happy to be your mentor and mentor you into this great world of human resources. But you can also look me up, which it's pinned, www.1hrexpert.com. That is the website. You can reach me there as well. Comment below. Any other comments, please leave them below, and I will answer them when I have time after the Facebook Live and Instagram Live. and YouTube Live is over. So I'm glad you guys were able to join me tonight. This has been a great, awesome topic, and just keep the dialogue going. We are not to be censored. We all have a voice, and we just got to make this world a better place to live. Okay, Alice says her students study at Starbucks there a lot, all the time. Shakira says, I'll be boycotting Starbucks until the final result is released. I don't want to be harassed in an establishment where I pay my money. I mean, that's true. Everyone has their own viewpoint, and if you choose to boycott, that's, more power to you. In my own personal opinion, I can't say I will not be going, but that's not a place that I, go to all the time anyway. So that's not my first choice of a cup of joe. I normally go to 7-Eleven and get a French vanilla latte or something like that. So anyways, that's just me. It was in Burlington, New Jersey. I lived in Philly, and yes, I do know that establishment. Cool. Thanks, Shakira. Alice is from Reno Valley. Nashay is from Landover, Maryland. Nicole says the employee should be fired for discrimination. Till then, Starbucks will not get any more of her coins. Okay. And Monroe is in Chicago. And I am from sunny Southern California. So, Ontario, Inland Empire, California. So I'm in sunny Southern California, and today was approximately about 80 something degrees, pretty hot. So we're enjoying the weather right now. So I mean, I think this is really good. I really commend all of you guys for coming onto the live and having the open dialogue. Thank you guys for joining. I really appreciate it. You guys have been awesome. If you are just now coming in, join in. Watch. If you're watching the replay, please put replay. Avril says you're rubbing it in this nice weather. Yes, the weather is beautiful out here. I'm really enjoying it because we did have a spat of rain, but now we're over that and we're now sunny. Time to get our beach body together. So anyways, I really appreciate all of you guys. Thank you for chiming in. If you're just now tuning in, please watch the replay. Had open, awesome dialogue with everyone. Until next time, I will be doing my Facebook Live, my Instagram Live, and my YouTube Live. Check me out on all the social medias. I'm trending with the newest HR trends, HR trainings, and anything HR. I'm really a lover of everything HR, and really just like to talk to everyone about what's going on in today's society, today's world. Have a blessed week, you guys. Start in a positive note. Say some positive affirmations and be blessed. Happy Sunday and enjoy your work week, you guys. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Have a great night.